The lights are off and away they go.
Extremely loose. He's managed to hold on. I think he missed the complete. He's crazy stuff.
Side Freitas is on the grass on the infield before. He slides through. He tags Richard.
Live for the Phoenix International Raceway in Avondale, Arizona, round 7 of 18 on the LionHeart IndyCar Series Season 2 Championship on the Global Sim Racing channel, the PIR 125. Happy to have you with us up in the GSRC broadcast booth, as always. Myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and directing the cameras is Amjad Yavid. And Sean, we look forward to what is going to be a very exciting race. Back on air after a little bit of a hiatus. While we were off, these guys did go road course racing at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Ontario, or Montreal, Quebec, I guess, Canada. But we're back on the ovals. We'll get to those results later on. But this is a very short racetrack, coming in at 1 mile in length. One of the newer racetracks to the iRacing sim, and it is very bad fast. Almost a bull ring of sorts, we'll call it, because things can get very interesting, and that is clearly evident by such close lap time so far in the practice session.
Man, I mean, there is just a log jam. We're talking thousands of a second separating some of these guys here in practice right now. It's just amazing the times that these guys are setting. 21.59 is the top of the score sheet here in practice right now by Corey Connor. That is a blistering fast lap, Evan. We're talking a little over 20 seconds to get around in 1 mile. This is a very fast track. It's not a small track by any means. You have a little room to get around here, and you've got some space to work. But you come up on everybody so fast here. You're really going to have to be on your toes tonight and watch out for everybody around you, because these cars are a little quirky, and it doesn't take much to get them out of shape. So you're going to have to mind your P's and Q's and exude a little bit of patience from time to time, and you're just going to have to use that special line to get around this place tonight and put yourself in victory lane, Evan.
You talk about special lines. This racetrack classifies itself as a D-shaped tri-oval. However, that D shape is pretty much down to back straightaway at that dog leg, which again is new for this version of the Phoenix International Raceway. Now, when we say new, we can use that sparingly. It has been on the system for a couple of months now, but it is no longer the grass down there. It's all paved. Now, it is not open. We do have the cones out there, so that is restricted, as well as some rules as regards to what these cars can and what they cannot do when you get down to quarters number 3 and 4. The yellow line, you can get up to 2 cars below there, which is what the league has allowed these drivers to do, Sean. In theory, with the downforce that these Dallara DW12s have, you could really get down right up against that inside retaining wall. Now, not the smartest idea, but it has been restricted so that you're going to be able to get 2 tires down on the yellow line. Now, what does that mean with the draft? It means that everybody is really going to try to protect that inside positioning. The way the draft works, as that giant hole in the air that these cars punch, especially on these oval circuits that we go to, is going to make for this one to be very exciting. We are working down to the end of a 30-minute practice session. That's going to be followed by 5 minutes of closed qualifying, 2 laps per car to set the grid for this. But so far, again, you talked about the times. 27 people have put down a time in qualifying. Second all the way back to 15th are within 1/10 of a second. Corey Connor must have gotten one hell of a run, Sean, because he's up there in the .159s. Look at that 2 car to be competitive. But again, working the draft and being a solo car run, very different, which could be interesting to see. Again, draft is how you're going to win and how you're going to lose this race. We see it at all of the oval tracks, but with qualifying being single car runs, also puts a lot of emphasis on these guys to be very smooth and poetic, I guess you could say, on those 2 laps of qualifying that are going to be coming up in just a few moments as practice now comes down to a close.
Yeah, and we've got a little something new for qualifying tonight. They only got 2 gallons for their qualifying setup tonight. So, this series does run a fixed setup, and they have now tweaked it a bit for qualifying, and qualifying only, you will have 2 gallons in the tank. So, car is going to be very light. I will be curious to see if we get a 159 in qualifying here, though. We're about to see this thing kick off now. These cars are going to be awful fast here in Q. And like I said, with only 2 gallons of fuel, they're going to be really light. So I expect to see a really, really hot lap here to take us to the pole, Evan.
This race is 125 laps around this 1 mile speedway, so it is 125 miles by the time you get down to the end of the night. We are running lap times, as you've seen, pretty much right across the board at the practice session. Expect nothing different in the qualifier as well as in the race, at least on the opening portions of these runs, is the fact that you're going so fast. In theory, if we go green all the way, this race is done in less than a half hour. Now, you're going to be stuffing up to 30 cars. Again, 30 is the cutoff. LCQ would be in effect. So far, only 28 cars have entered, 28 cars in the race, 27 of which put down a time at a practice session. So that's not going to come to effect, but it is something to note that 28 cars still out on the Phoenix International Raceway. Although it is wide, probably not the safest of things when you're running 175 miles off of the quarter. Pretty guaranteed that you're going to see some extent, I guess we'll say, Sean, a big junk tonight. It's a very bull ring-esque race. You can talk about some of the races that we have seen earlier on in this championship, ovals to be in particular. And when you go to the road side of things, and we're going to have limited availability to be broadcasting those, but we've seen races at Sonoma. It's a lot more on the driver versus the track. Really, the dictating factor in this race is you and the other cars. We saw it at the Iowa Speedway, is it is very easy to find trouble. Pacing yourself at a 125-lap race as well is going to be key, which puts that much more emphasis on track position, qualify up front. You don't have to be back there in the crapshoot where everything's going on mid-pack. And, you know, a good qualifying effort can make your day a lot easier if you're starting up inside the top 10 and have a lot less ground to make up, as opposed to if you're at the back and if anything happens in front of you, it's about luck of the draw if you get through it.
Yeah, it really is, and you know, we're already seeing the low times here on the sheet here for qualifying. Jack Bogan right now is sitting up there with a 22.42, and I expect we'll still see some faster laps come. Corey Connor hasn't even gone out yet, so and I know he's been extremely fast, and Dan Guerin hasn't gone out either, and I know he's been even faster. So, yeah, you know, it is going to be luck of the draw here tonight. You know, we talked about Iowa for a second there. This track. Like I said, it's not as narrow as Iowa is, but you could find trouble just as quick because of the sheer speed that these cars are getting around here tonight. And as I said just a few minutes ago, you are going to have to mind your P's and Q's tonight and watch out for the traffic around you, because it won't take much to get in trouble. And one slight mishap could take out half the field. Another change since we were on last, there are no resets anymore. So you don't have a chance at this point to get much repair, or to get you don't get a second chance tonight. You don't get a second chance going forward for the rest of the season. One of the enhancements they've made to the league to kind of tone things down a bit and make it even a little bit more competitive for these guys is to take away the resets altogether. So you are going to have to be very careful here at the start of this race tonight, and you are going to have to pace yourself for 125 laps around this thing, Evan.
Now, you could ask these guys pre-race, are you going to take it easy, the fact that you don't have any quick fixes? So you damage those cars, and they're fast. You can run through the statistics on these things, and they sound badass, but they do not take kindly to hitting the wall with the open wheels, and therefore very easy to damage the suspension, damage things in the handling, the steering on these race cars. The fact that this is going to be very close quarters, you can ask about every single driver will give you the same answer, Sean. I'm going to take it easy. Once you get out there and there's a hole, someone's going to start going for it. At some point, that intensity has to go up. There's going to be a sense of urgency for the people at the back of the pack that they do need to make up time, which is why, again, it's that risk versus reward balance that everybody needs to find. Let's talk some track facts about this Phoenix International Raceway. Talked about how it claims to be a D-shaped tri-oval, kind of backwards, I'd say, as that's on the back straightaway with a dog leg, but it is 1 mile in length, 4 turns with progressive banking, which is not as much of a factor at this racetrack. It's in these cars, I guess we should say, because you can pretty much put these wherever as long as you have a little bit of draft to some other racetracks. But it is progressive banking down in 1 and 2, 10 degrees on the bottom, 12 up against the outside retaining wall. Same thing down in 3 and 4, going to be 8 on the bottom, 9 up high. So a little bit less banking there. 10 to 12 degrees of progressive banking as well around that dog leg on the back straightaway, and 3 degrees of banking on the front stretch. But qualifying gets set to come down to a close, and we get set to get going. Race 7 of 18 on the Season 2 campaign for the LionHeart IndyCar Series, as always on Global Sim Racing Channel. Want to thank everybody for tuning in, and there's 3 drop weeks in this championship, so out of 18, 15 starts are going to count towards your championship points. I can guarantee you that somebody may have to use one tonight. How about this for the top spot? Jack Bogan with a 20.242, Sean. He'll be on pole position. Second place, Matt Kingsbury, a 20.242. iRacing only goes down to 1,000th of a second. They're separated by somewhere in the somewhere in the range of about 10,000ths or 100,000ths of a second, to the point where it shows up as a tie on our monitors. They're going to make up the front row. Tony Lockhart going to start in third position. Austin Espety, the fourth position, and rounding out our top five, that's the 52, always fast, of Ray Kingsbury.
Yeah, and Big Joe Hassert there in sixth, and right next to him, the very fast Drew Motz in seventh. In eighth, Bradley Walters. In ninth, Chris Lanini. And closing out the top 10, Dan Guerin.
You got George Ansaldo, the number 6 car. He's going to roll from the inside of row number 6. That's going to be P11, 12th position to Eric Von Harten. You got John Downing, one more row back. The unlucky number 13 starting position, 14th to the 2 of Corey Connor. And Carl Burke will round out the top 15.
Yeah, and we got Jesse Vincent sitting back there in 16th place. Bit of a surprise. Jesse's been fast all week in the number 1 car. Back there in 16th, Peter Ramberg in 17th. Michael Gray in 18th. Krista Nelson in the Dominatrix Motorsports 25 there in 19th. Joshua Borje Bonkowski in 20th spot, the number 193 tonight, Evan.
Final 5 cars that do put down a time in qualifying. The 64 of Jason Robar's 21st, 22nd. Rudy Avalon, Justin Laxton back in 23rd position. 24th alongside him on the outside, the 72 of Vincent Bluthenthal. And the final car to put down a time in qualifying, P25, the 69 of Trevor Malone.
Okay, and so we got 4 more cars here that did not take time and are going to close out this field tonight. Pierre Deigel in the 55 and 26. Robert Bluen in the 48 and 27. Brent Cummings, a last-minute entry here in the number 84 and 28th. And Mark Norbert, the 111, closing out our field with 29 cars tonight. Mark Norbert.
So 1 spot on the grid short of a full field. We will have 15 rows of Dallara DW12 chassis that get set to go racing at the Phoenix International Raceway. Lap times that are under 21 seconds per lap. 29 cars out there at once, an access of probably 175 miles all the way around, not dropping below that for much time. And it's going to be a bullring race per se. The iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car leads this field. He's in front of Jack Bogan. That machine going to duck down to the safety of pit road. Field is in the hands of the 20 car, the 021. On the other side of that front row, Jack Bogan in control. Green flag flies. The PIR 125 is green from Phoenix. And the top 3 going to be the only ones that get to sort this thing out. 4th position slotting on through. That's Tony Lurcock. Everybody else double file and all ready for the lead. Down to the dog leg goes Matt Kingsbury.
Jack Bogan shot out of a cannon there on the start, but is now losing ground to these guys as they come around him here on the inside.
And it's going to be Kingsbury who gets to the top spot, but then right after that, the 777 car back down to the bottom. Austin Espety again using that draft that is so strong in these Dallara DW12s. Already back to the top spot, and now similar to what we saw happen to Jack Bogan, that number 21 machine is stuck up high. Jack's still stuck up high as cars continuously go to the bottom on him, but Matt slides back to 4th position. 3 cars still on the bottom. Tony Lurcock, Ray Kingsbury as well slotting their way through. Now you see Kingsbury go to the inside of the 42. That now the battle for 2nd position, and you talk about the constant side-by-side 3 wide at times for the top 5 spots. Same thing is going on all the way throughout this field that sits 28 cars strong. 1 car is off in the lead lap. 1 lap down, Vincent Bluthenthal, the 72, who elected to start from pit road, may have anticipated some trouble on it. He's already 1 lap down, and for a moment, the top 5 single file out. Expect the challenger to arise pretty soon as Austin Espety now finds the 777 up front.
You know, I'm checking in here with the back of the field, Evan, and I'm checking out Justin Laxton right now, who started pretty far back in 23rd place for him, with Justin with Overdrive Graphics driving that Laps 4 MD car tonight again, and looking good, moving his way up through the field right now. And, right now, pretty good racing going on back here. A lot of guys fighting for position and doing it without incident. Good stuff here, Evan.
It was wild up front for those first few laps. Now things have, I guess, calmed down for a moment. It's hard to say that when there's only about half a car length that separated these guys that are pretty much second on back, and you're going speeds of 176 miles an hour at your slowest point on the racetrack. The question is, who steps out of line to make the move first? You see a couple of guys, they try to do so, but they're right on the point of pushing the issue. Down to the inside on the 11 goes Jack Bogan. Tried it, could not get the job done. The car got tight on him. He had to check up. He went up the banking, and around him goes Drew Montz, now the 42. Tony Lurkonk going to make that pass as well, and now slide Jack Bogan back to P7. Again, risk versus reward. Stay in line, and maybe somebody's going to challenge on you, but if you're the first guy to make the move and it doesn't work, exactly like that can happen, and you can go the wrong direction. Espati still leads more side-by-side inside of the top 10 to the inside lane, the 56 of Bradley Walters. He tries to put a move on the 06 of Dan Jarren for 9th position. He'll get the job done, and Dan's going to slide in behind him. Top 10 now, single file for a moment, but more challenging now for P4.
You know, Evan, I think some of these guys have decided to challenge the track and not the drivers so much here. Man, we've spread out all over the place here. It's not going to be long before our leaders come up on some lap traffic here. I mean, we've already got one car a lap down, and Vincent Bluthenthal, not exactly sure what happened to him. I'm wondering if maybe he started from the pit lane on that.
Yeah, Bluthenthal did, which may hurt him in a way because, again, there's no lucky dogs or wave rounds. We got contact out of back straightaway. Caution flag now flies at the Phoenix International Raceway. There was a puff of smoke. A couple cars had trouble. It looks like Krista Nelson is slowed in the number 25 machine. That car is turned around. That is going to be the cause of the caution. We work on getting that replay up. You're taking a look at that pink number 25 entry. Down on the bottom in one, and it looks like the 55 just in front of her. Pierre Daigle went to make a move, Sean, and again, things happened so quickly here coming off the corner that he cut down. She was trying to make a move on him. 3-1, and I don't think that Pierre had any idea that Krista Nelson was there. He just cut across on her. You'll see it right there on the replay. Cuts down, hits her in the front end. She spins out. Good thing she went down to that back straightaway area, did not come back up the racetrack. Nobody else involved, excluding the 25, and it is going to be a single car incident that puts us under our first caution flag at a race. Already 11 laps in, again, very fast paced in the lap times that these guys are running, but the story of it all is that Austin Espati has put that 777 to the top spot. Meanwhile, our pole sitter, Jack Bogan, got stuck up high. He's still back in 6th position and expected to be no easier than it was earlier to try to get back up front, because you really got to capitalize. We saw it there, Sean, on those first 2 laps off of a restart where everybody can kind of go mad. Once you kind of settle into a spot, easier said than done on making those moves. But Jack, we know he has a fast car, 4th fastest in practice, qualified on pole. Still a top 10, but a little bit further back than he would like.
Yeah, and Jack's racing with purpose tonight, running a special paint scheme there, racing for Gage tonight, grandson born with a congenital heart defect, and he's racing in his honor tonight and for supportive research for congenital heart defects. But nice special paint scheme he's running tonight, and we'd all like to see Jack finish well with a good cause tonight. But going back to the incident there, you know, it did look like, I don't know if you saw what I saw, Evan, but it did look like Pete Ramberg got just a little loose with the wheel there, and that's kind of what caused the evasive move there that wound up getting into Krista. So bad break for Krista, but I think she's going to be able to get repaired and get back out here and still be fast.
It could have been a lot worse. That number 25 machine has been able to come down pit road for a moment, is catching back up, and is requesting some of the other drivers to, take a look, because again, we have pretty much, access to whatever camera angles we can. They can't go in third person. They're all behind the wheel of that car. Some of these people are using the iRacing spotter as well, but some people have actual spotters in here talking to them, letting them know. So you ask another driver what the damage is, and you always like to see good causes on the car. You were talking about Jack Bogan, Sean. One thing that I've noticed being able to be involved in a lot of leagues on iRacing is there is so many great programs that people do on iRacing, whether it be, from just running special paint schemes throughout. You pretty much see a lot of the cars go pink in October as well. A lot of work that I've done with series that raised money for breast cancer awareness and a very range of different organizations. And that's something that a lot of people don't know about iRacing, but there's a lot of good things that happen on this sim. Fundraising events, raise it awareness for things, and it's great to see Jack have that. Good that he put that 20 on pole, and I don't think there'd be many people that would object if that 20 went to victory lane, as the lights do go off on top of the pace car.
And it's amazing, Evan. We've already clicked away 14 laps in this race, and we just got started a few minutes, like 30 seconds ago, I think, right?
I'd say 25, a rough estimate. It's been fast, and expect that to only pick up.
Yeah, and it's about to pick up right now as we go back to a single file restart in the LionHeart Racing Series.
Single file might only be, equally as dangerous because somebody's going to want to step out of line. How long do they wait is the question as well. That accordion going to be twice as long because pretty much when our leaders take a green flag, a lot of people still down to back straightaway. So again, emphasis on track position as the night goes on. The pace car going to get out of the way and pretty much down to the safety of pit road. Sharp left-hand turn there. Austin Espity going to be in control of the field. He accelerates once he hits the water barrels at the end of pit road. Green flag back in the air, and once again racing with a PIR 125 at the Phoenix International Raceway. Austin Espity gone, and a very spread out inside of the top 5, top 10. No side-by-side yet until you get back to Justin Laxton. It is 15th position Carl Burke in the 027 who's going backwards. But other than that, everybody calm, at least on that restart for a little bit. Top 3, though, are all over each other and already a second ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, and I'm checking in with the back of the field here. Everybody got a good start back here. Now, they were 2 turns away from when the lead car went across the start-finish line there, which means we could get caught here pretty quick. But, great start. Everybody's off to a good one here. Keeping my eyes on Pierre Deigel, who has been fast in practices leading up to this race, but right now just doesn't seem to have a handle on the car. He's fallen back right now. Being shown in 27th place, and I believe he's about to fall to 28th. And, oh, man, we got contact here at the back of the field. I'm right on it, guys. Krista.
Looks like Dan Duran, he's turned around. Heavy black smoke pours out of the 06 machine. This is a multi-car incident that happened down into corner number 3. The 06 over the radio, he'll claim responsibility for this. This traces all the way back to corner 1, where he tried to make a move to the inside, slid up a little bit into the 2, was forced down to that dog leg, and kind of had to tiptoe around there. You're taking a look at the replay right now, and then when he blended back up into traffic, got sideways on the intersection of the racetrack, and the apron came up, got huge contact up in the air. He went, looks like it was the number 84 car involved in that one as well. A couple other people would come on through. They would pile into that. You're taking a look at it again as Duran pretty much saved it once. Sean couldn't save it the second time. They spun, and then a couple of people involved in it after the initial incident as they tried to get around it. Kristen Elson got into the back of somebody who braked essentially right in front of her. No reaction time available there, and that's how they can quickly grow to multi-car incidents. A little bit of a split decision on pit road. Leaders all staying out. We have a couple of the people at the back of the pack coming in to top off on fuel and whatnot, but other than that, not a lot of action at the front of the field.
You know, Evan, I think Dan spun his tires there as he was trying to get back up. That's certainly what it looked like to me. Just watching real closely, it just looks like he spun his tires as he was trying to get back up onto the track, and that thing just hooked and turned right on him, and everybody behind him there just had nowhere to go. That's really unfortunate, man. Really unfortunate.
And it's the speeds that these guys are running at that, again, not a lot of reaction time as far as when you're racing somebody like we saw with the first incident, or even if there's contact in front of you, just trying to get around it. It's very hard to see up in front of you. You can see smoke, you can see the caution flag, but you really don't know if you want to go high, if you want to go low, and what you want to do to try to get around it. Before that incident, though, we did still have 28 out of the 29 cars that started this race on the lead lap. The 84 of Brent Cummings is behind the wall. His night is done. He was the car that Duran had spun up into, made heavy contact, that again, without quick fixes, his night pretty much done. I know Dan's car is currently on pit road. He's not behind the wheel, so he's pretty much done for the evening. Tony Lurcock is down pit road. That's the number 42 entry. He, I do not believe, is behind the wheel either. Could be taken again, toes to pit road as well. And then Vincent Bluthenthal. Got to feel bad for that Team Penske entry, the number 72, Sean. thought that there may have been big trouble on the restart. He started from pit road, and he's pretty much stuck there because of the time penalty that he had to wait for the field to get around. He was not up to speed. He got his lap down, and it's going to be pretty hard getting out of that because of the way the pit strategies typically work in this league at the ovals. Not everybody really going to come down consensually altogether, and he would need to stay out, have all the lead lap cars pit so that he could get in front of them and right behind a pace car get a wave around. Looks like that would be a tough ticket to get tonight, though, as everybody's still pretty much packed up there with 25 of them on the lead lap, many of which have come down for service already twice tonight at the back of the pack.
Well, I taking a look at Krista Nelson's machine here. Feel bad for her. That was a really tough break because she managed to get through that first incident without any significant damage. Looks like she was able to get some repair in the pits there, and car looks pretty good right now. So maybe she can get back up to speed and still be a factor in this thing tonight. Still showing on the lead lap here in 25th place, so things may still work out for her yet. Again, the car looks like it will continue here without much trouble. She was able to get some repair there in the pits, so good on Krista. But tough break for a few of these guys here. Brett Cummings, Dan Guerin. Dan had an awfully fast car. Not sure exactly, but the pace car is in, Evan. We're getting ready to start this thing again.
Back at it as the 777 of Austin Espity. He's able to get back going, and pretty much since he took the lead on the start of the race there, pretty much lap 2, nobody's been able to get to him. Second all the way through 4th position. They are all over each other in the corner. They're going to be able to get up to the back of the 777. If they can't time a pass right away, may be hard to do so. Crossover coming out of 4 for Jack Bogan. He tried to pass on the high side. Didn't work. 45 for the inside. Now he crosses him over side by side with Drew Motz. That's going to be for P5. Bogan is going to have the preferred lane down into 3 and 4. Expect that 20 car to get the job done. He does. 45 is able to find a spot in line to slot right behind him and try to go back at him as he gets a running out to the inside. Drew Motz now on the attack.
And I'm looking here at Jesse Vincent. He's got himself in 11th place, knocking on the door 10th right now, right behind his old buddy George Anzaldo. They're racing for position right now back here. We got Bradley Walters right up in front of them. Corey Connor losing a little bit of ground off the turn there. He's falling back a little bit. George Anzaldo gets that position, and so does Jesse, and they're moving up now. I just noticed something. Jesse Vincent is our points leader here in the LionHeart Racing Series, and number 2, Rick Music, isn't here tonight. So somebody is going to take over that second spot tonight. Could be Matt Kingsbury if he plays his cards right.
And in a league that you have 3 drop races, this is obviously going to count as one of those, or rather not count as one of them that will tally up as points, but you never want to have to use one of those from being unavailable, and there's so many extraneous circumstances that can come into it as sim racing if you're having connection issues, if just real life gets in the way that you can't make it out to the racetrack. That's going to force him to now really only have 2 drop weeks depending on how many starts that he can make, because everybody up inside the top 10 in points have started all 6 races before this evening's event, being round 7 of 18 in the championship. It's very interesting. Ray Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury, they have caught Austin Espity, Sean. The Kingsbury guys, always fast, and they always seem to be right with each other. However, they are not able to get a move on that 777. Now, I can guarantee if he gets down later in the race and we're come down to 10 to go, they're not going to be nearly as patient as they are now. But the 777s holding the zone up front in the top 4 within 0.3 of a second of each other. Got to look 1.7 back to find 5th, but there's a side-by-side battle. The 20 car up high. He's trying to challenge with Bradley Walters, the 56 on the attack down low.
Trevor Malone back here trying to make some ground right now as he makes the move on George Anzaldo. George losing a little bit of ground now. Jesse Vincent's moved up in front of him. Michael Gray's following, and George takes it back down on the inside, leaving Michael Gray behind him here, and now George slides back again. A lot of racing going on back here, Evan. It's fast and it's furious, and we're already 30 laps into this 125-lap race.
And we saw that on the start of the race, how things were all over the place at the front of the field, which is where the majority of people's eyes were trained at the start. That's been going on in the back of the pack, and it hasn't simmered down, unlike the battle up at the front of the field that has calmed down, and it's really just a 4-car freight train as they continue to pull away from positions 5th on back. Now 2.1 seconds to the clear, but that continues mid-pack because there are so many different cars that these guys are being able to draft off of. A little bit of them are single file up front. Just now clearing out is Corey Connor. The 45's able to continue to stay in front of him. 45 gets a little sideways off the corner of the Drew Mott's entry. Not enough to the point where the 2's going to be able to challenge, but they single file out for the moment. Don't expect that to last very long. How about this 56 car, though? Up on the high side, it's been a tale of 2 different songs for Bradley Walters. He just passed somebody up high a couple of laps ago. Now he's getting past, goes way wide in the corner. The AAA to Michael Grade's going to be able to get around him. Justin Laxton as well in the laps for MD entry is going to be able to make that pass. So slide that number 56 of Walters' car back to 13th position after he started in a top 10 spot.
Yeah, and how about this run for Justin Laxton so far? And I certainly don't want to put the commentator's jinx on him, but really nice work by him so far. Really glad to see him out there with that paint job again. I really love the skin on that machine, the Laps for MD machine. And, again, he puts that thing in victory lane tonight. He's going to owe those guys a little contribution there.
We have one big mover in this race. We talked about how our pole sitter was 6th position at the start. He's gone up to 5th position is Jack Bogan. But Big Joe Hassert, one of the fan favorites, that 11 car, started this race 6th, has been kind of quiet. He is not sitting in line like the Kingsburys. He's going for the lead. Just got 2nd position 2 laps ago to the inside and gone. Goes that 11 to Joe Hassert. Now, for those that may be unfamiliar, this is a fixed setup series. Everybody out there has the exact same setup on the car. Nobody has any sort of aerodynamic advantage over everybody else. The 11 just straight drove that car to the lead. You see Austin Espity get a run. Joe goes down to the bottom to force Austin to try to take the high side, protect that preferred lane. You saw the 777 go up high. Nothing's going to work, though, on the high side going into a corner, and then Joe Hassert's able to defend that, and that's why the 11 car is up front after he masterfully kind of weaved his way by Matt Kingsbury, by Ray, now by Austin Espity to get to the top spot just shy of lap 40.
Okay, now we're going to start talking about pit stops here pretty quick because the window here tonight is only about 37 laps or so. So these guys now, whereas we have had 2 early cautions here, they're going to start running out of time. I don't think any of our leaders came in, Evan, so we're going to be looking at a need to come in here any time now.
And we did see some people at the back of the pack come down pit road a couple of times, and that's what you'll typically see is, nothing to lose. Come down, top it off, maybe get tires, as there is no tire limit.
Oh, we got a car out of shape back here. Car out of shape. I'm going to it right now here. Right in front of Georgia and Zaldo.
Oh, right after the yellow, too. Michael Gray gets turned around. The caution was in front of these drivers. Michael Gray gets sideways, staved it, got into the wall, came up, and somebody else nearly clobbered him. The first car to really get turned around, and Joshua Borje Bonkowski, he got hit by Robert Blow, and that was all post the initial incident, though.
Yeah, Drew Motz and it looks like maybe a little bit of net code involved there. Drew Motz and Michael Gray getting into it there, and that's what kind of started everything there, Evan.
They were definitely still clear. The AAA to Michael Gray, the race center entry, went down to the inside. And, even if it was netcode, he didn't really take the arc that he should have if that 45 was still there. So, although it was still technically avoidable, there definitely was about a good foot of space between those cars. And with varying internet connections and relying on a server, netcode essentially gets him. It turns Drew Motz into the wall, which is one of the discussions that we had as the leaders come down pit road is, Sean, no quick fixes makes it more realistic, but a lot of leagues like to have 1 or 2 in there in case some people are caught up at incidents like that. With no quick fixes, that takes the 45 out of the race. Meanwhile, Big Joe Hassert leads us down. He's in his stall, and Ori back out. No issues as the 11 car will retain the number 1 spot.
Espity right out behind him there. So, and the Kingsbury boys are come out 4 and 5 there. So not much change up front, but man, how opportune was that? Here we are talking about needing to come in here pretty soon, and we get a caution flag, unfortunately. Caution flag number 3 tonight, but that seemed to work out for our leaders as they're going to stay out here and be our leaders still.
It could have very easily brought them down pit road. One of the most hazardous parts in a race is when you have cars that they pit. And, not really here because the tire wear is very minimal. You may not even need tires on the first stop. We saw the majority of the people up front take fuel only. But in other races, when there's a really big fall off, you got guys that come out of pit road. They got fresh tires that are a lot faster than a lot of the guys that are slow. And typically, when you have that increased closing rate, leads to incidents. So very easily, our leaders could have come down. There could have been a yellow. And even though there's not that big gap, something could have happened with cars trying to blend back out on the racetrack with each other. And our leaders get stuck behind. And it were the cars that were at the back of the pack that pitted, just on the cycle of stops. Then when our leaders did not elect to come down pit road, go into the top spot. So that was a huge break because those guys behind him, everybody coming down on this stop, pretty much creating a fresh cycle on pit road because the only car that's in front of our race leader is John Downing. He is scored right now as the last car on the lead lap because he is in front of Big Joe. Technically, we'll call him a lap car. He'll get the wave around the pace car, and then he'll group up, and he will be the last car on the lead lap, P24, as they run right now. Still no luck, though, for Bluthenthal. Sean, the 72, remains one lap down, again, after electing to start from pit road.
I was just thinking about that. Poor Vincent couldn't get a break there. He's going to still stay a lap down, but hey, he's still in this thing, all right? And, by the end of the night, it may just wind up being a good strategy. So I did notice the Kingsbury brothers did take tires, so maybe they're forward thinking a little bit, or maybe they're going to make that run for the lead now and not give it away. So we'll just see what happens there. We got one to go. The lights are off on the pace car, Evan.
Closing in on the halfway point in this race, just, about maybe a third of the way to that point. Actually, 1/3 distance is going to be crossed under this caution flag. We were at number 43 of 125 from the Phoenix International Raceway in this 125-mile event. You're watching round 7 of 18, the PIR 125 with the LionHeart IndyCar Series Season 2 on the Global Sim Racing channel. Glad to have you with us. Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose up at the broadcast booth. Big Joe Hassert is the control car, pace car down to the way, and absolutely zero hesitation on behalf of the 11. Big checkup mid-pack, that accordion effect striking cars 15th on back, but the 11 is in a completely different zip code already. Meanwhile, Austin Espity, who got out second, he has a rear view mirror full of Kingsbury.
Yeah, and hey, listen, if anybody knows the special line at any given track, it's Big Joe Hassert. So he's not, he doesn't like to give up the lead in any series he runs. So Joe's a bit of a gambler, as you would say, and I'm sure he'll gamble all he can to keep that lead tonight, Evan.
And you see those guys are able to start to close in on him with the draft. The 3 cars tucked up behind him. Very interesting. And on the last 2 restarts, it has been the top 4 is the magic number. You look down the front straightaway, you see this lead draft of cars, 1.5 seconds to the good. Behind them, the bulk of the cars are really there packed together, but everybody really gets set up. And we got contact as Austin Espity was slower coming off a 2 to the bottom with the 021, got into him. Very sensitive on the damage. Does not look like the front wing of the 021 of Kingsbury is damaged at all, if any, but he definitely made pretty significant contact and it checked him up. Meanwhile, a lot of fighting going on around mid-pack.
Yeah, well, I'm watching this battle here. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th place, man. These guys are just going wheel to wheel right now. Jesse Vincent leading the charge. Everybody following him, trying to catch up. Got Corey Connor in that mix. Jack Bogan, Eric Von Hartung, George Ansaldo, Jason Robarge, all right there. Justin Laxton. I mean, what a race going on right here. 5th back to 11th place right now. 12th place.
It is very easy for a lot of these drivers to become, dependent on your spotter. There is so much going on that, again, if you're using one of the iRacing automatic AI spotters, you better be double checking that because so constantly changing is the positioning of these cars on track. I do feel like that 021 may have gotten damaged a little bit, Sean. I don't see anything, at least on my end, on the left front ring of the back Kingsbury entry. But since he got into the back of Austin Espity has not really been able to stick with Big Joe Hassert all that much, and Ray Kingsbury's actually gotten around. Madden is kind of just bringing that 021 car in tow because it looks like he may have lost just a little bit of pace.
Yeah, I think Kingsbury's just lying in wait right now. Just kind of let the race come to him. I don't see any damage on that car. Doesn't look like it's hurt at all, so I think he's going to be fine. But, let's check in on the back of the field here. There's still some pretty tight racing going on back here. Nobody wants to give up at this point. There's still plenty of racing left to go. And, Here, Evan, I just looked down and, man, we're 51 laps into this thing. I can't believe how quickly this thing is going away.
Just about 12 laps away from what would be the halfway point in this event, and the Hornet's Nest continues all over the racetrack. The 69 of Trevor Malone swung way wide at it too. He's able to cut back down in front of the number 2 of Corey Connor. That battle going on for 7th position. You talked about 5th, 6th, 7th. That is the first pack after our leaders. With 5th position, Jesse Vincent finds himself 2.3 seconds off of the top spot. The top 4 spots are within 3/10 still. However, they are single filed out for the moment. Meanwhile, looking back, 24 cars remain on the lead lap. One car a little bit off pace. The John Downing entry had a little bit of part of the post-incident contact there that we saw on the last yellow that is hindering the speed of the 82 car. He is the only one really off pace. Everybody else, at least in the same zip code, I'll say, of each other. Look at the move to the inside. Aggressive. The 2 of Corey Connor just forced his way to the inside on the 20 of Jack Bogan. Meanwhile, the 1 car sliding wide as well. And this is a Hornet's Nest for 5th on back, side by side, 2-3 rows deep.
Now, these guys do an awful lot of practice between races, okay? I'm curious, how long can we keep this up? How long can we have about 7-8 cars this tight, literally wheel to wheel and nose to tail? How long can they keep it up? How long can they do it without somebody getting in trouble here? Right now, this has been wonderful racing. Right now, for me, this has been one of the most exciting races of the season. I don't know if we've seen racing this close this season, Evan.
It's got the excitement of Iowa that we saw earlier, but not quite the carnage yet. Knock on wood. 24 cars still on the lead lap, and when that 2 car made that very aggressive move over the radio, Jesse Vincent saying it's a little early for that. Well, Vincent's going to make it 3 wide. The 2 goes high on Trevor Malone. Jesse Vincent down to the apron. Big winner in all of that. Will beat Vincent. He'll get 2 birds with 1 stone, and he'll slide up at a P6. Just in front of them, Jack Bogan has regained 5th position, and now you see that it's going to be able to car that maintains Trevor Malone, and the 2 who tried to pass on the high side, which really isn't the place to do it at this racetrack, was unable to do so. Update, top 4 are still single file, and at least for a brief moment, everybody in the field single file for just a couple seconds.
Yeah, how long will that last? Maybe half a lap.
We're already back at it side by side.
Michael Gray trying to set up Bradley Walters here. Yeah, he almost got inside of Bradley there and then lost a little bit of ground. But, yeah, I'm all over this field right now, and you're right. Everybody is pretty much nose to tail at this point. But, everybody is still in this race except for the 4 cars that have checked out. Drew Motz, Tony Lurcock, Dan Guerin, and Brent Cummings. Real tough break for Drew Motz and Tony Lurcock and Dan Guerin. They've all been very fast in practice. They put in a lot of time over the past week and a half to get ready for this race as the series was off last week. And they've had a lot of time to practice here, and it is a shame to see those guys out already. I know and feel their pain. So, but now we do have another car lap down. John Downing, who is fighting an ill-handling car because of that damage, has gone a lap down back there with Vincent Blumenthal. So, here we go. We got something going on in the pits now.
John Downing
is going in.
That. He was a little bit off pace again after that contact. I told you he was about 13 seconds off of our leader and slowing. He has just come down for service and been rejoined the racing surface, but at least 1 lap down, if not going to be sliding to 2 laps down, depending on where he ends up and what the leader's laps are going to be scored on as they cross over. They take lap number 63 of 125. Halfway, cross flags in the air for the Phoenix International Raceway. Let's give you a full field rundown, let you know where they all sit. Right now, the top 10 is Big Joe Hassard, Austin Esmeti, Ray Kingsbury. Now we got trouble, big trouble, down in the back straightaway area of the racetrack. Slow, and it's Corey Connor, the number 2 car. Don't want to say I'm not surprised, Sean, but those were the guys that we saw fighting through this whole run, and it looks like he got his nose chopped off by the 20. Heavy contact for both of those cars, and Connor took out that inside wall with a huge impact. Looked like Jack Bogan. He got turned up into the catch fencing down the back straightaway as well. He was involved in that incident with Bradley Walters, and big trouble down the back, slowest down right at halfway.
And it just might be one of those deals, Evan, where he just didn't realize, Jack maybe didn't realize Corey was there. As we're looking at the replay here, Jack was running his usual line here, and I don't know what the spotter said to him, but you never know. I mean, he could have been told that he was clear, and it's just ever so slight there, but unfortunately, not enough room to get by there, and it results in another yellow flag here.
And it was the I-Race for Gage, number 20, at Jack Bogan, who is involved in that, unfortunately. Sean, again, not quite clear, and that car spun, right around, and then he got hit, nowhere to go, and essentially driving under him. I believe that was the Trevor Malone entry. Jack ended up upside down. About 3 cars went under him, but he got hit by Bradley Walters, got sent up into the fencing there, down the back straightaway on the inside portion of the wall. Could have easily, if there was no fence there, to kind of gone into the infield, phased into nowhere, and have been forced to take a tow. He had to, I do believe, anyways, because of the damage, and it sounds like his night is pretty much done, but quite a few cars involved in that most recent incident down the back straightaway. And again, all of these incidents have started off as 1-2 car wrecks, but it's the secondary wreck that tends to come pretty much in every single one of them. Cars trying to get around it that just aren't able to get checked up or unable to get out of the way in time, that multiply the amount of cars that get involved. Jack Bogan officially retiring from the race. Our pole sitter is now behind the wall. His night will come to a premature close, just about getting 50% of the laps in.
Well, that is a shame to see Jack out of this thing. I really would have loved to have seen that I-Race for Gage car in victory lane tonight, and tough break for him. Again, that was a tough break all around there, and it's a real shame to see the front part of this field get involved in that, because guys behind didn't really have a whole lot of place to go, and that tore up a few race cars there. So the field is going to slim down a little bit here, and we'll get back to racing here in just a moment. And looks like we're going to have a different leader when we get started here. A couple of these guys that were off cycle are going to be up front.
Right now, it is the 95 of Eric Von Hartung who scored up front. You got Michael Gray, Carl Burke, then Big Joe Hassert, who has scored in the number 4 position. The lights on top of the iRacing.com Ford First Mustang pace car, expected to possibly go off this time by. We work lap 66, crossing over to 67, as the 95 is going to be out in control. A lot of the time you may see somebody stay out, get a bonus point for leader to lap, then come back down pit road, go to the back of the pack. The 95 is here to play, and it's going to be Eric Von Hartung for the first time tonight. We will see what he can do. Has had a pretty consistent car as far as he was 12th fastest in practice, and he qualified P12. He's going to be the leader. Michael Gray, the 888 car, who was in an incident to some description earlier in this race, will be second, and now Carl Burke now finds himself in the top 3. I don't expect Big Joe Hassert to wait around a lot for these guys, though. Let's see what that 11 can do as well from P4 as Von Hartung gets ready to take the restart.
And I just want to bring quick attention to that paint job that Van Hartung is running tonight there in the Ayrton Senna Special. Big fan of that car, and good on him for running that paint scheme.
And it will be that number 95 that takes us back to the green flag. Pace car gets set to dive down and away, single file, 21 cars deep as we get set to go back at it. Green flag racing now past the halfway point. This is when the intensity gets cranked up a notch. Green flag back in the air, no challenge as we expect. For the 95 of Eric Von Hartung, he leads us off at quarter 1. Michael Gray, Carl Burke, all the way single file back to 6th position. Ray Kingsbury making a move on Austin Espity for a top 5 spot. He gets it down the back. Everybody single file right behind them, pretty much bumper to bumper, half a car length, maybe if you're lucky, separating the cars that are 7th through 11th position down there again, right in the mid-pack. And it's very interesting the way the draft works, that although everybody's going to be with somebody, they're not in one big pack. Everybody is essentially in little groups. You'll see a couple cars break away, a couple cars will stay together, and you'll really get split up into sections where these groups just can't keep up with each other. They can keep up with the cars with them. 3 wide and 1 getting split is the one of Jesse Vincent. Look at more cars down to the bottom. It's led by the 69 of Trevor Malone. On the high side, Matt Kingsbury making a move, and now down to the inside, you got guys like Justin Laxton. He's bringing George Anzaldo with him, and Jesse Vincent, winner from our last race 2 weeks ago from the Circuit Gil Villeneuve that was not broadcasted. He is going the wrong direction.
I'm shocked here that Jesse is just not made his way to the front yet tonight. This is really odd. I don't think he'll take much of a hit in the point standings as long as he can get himself a top 10 finish tonight, but I'm used to seeing that car go forward.
And he's going to lose yet again another position on the racetrack. Bradley Walters is going to pass Jesse Vincent as well. Meanwhile, we're slicing and dicing up inside of the top 5. The battle for position number 3 is led by Big Joe Hassert. Both him and Ray Kingsbury have put a move on Carl Burke, and it looks like Carl's going to have some company because it appears that 021 machine is going to be closing in on him not too far from now. The 72 machine right there as well. Vincent Blumenthal, that car is not in this battle, although it would appear that he is 5th on track. He is actually a lap machine, so he is not part of this battle up front. But Eric Von Hartung has been able to get a good restart like we saw other guys do, but he's maintained it. Michael Gray behind him, they are 1 second to the good over 3rd and 4th position, who are about 3/4 of a second to the good for 5th on back everybody else. So it looks like Von Hartung and Michael Gray may be able to kind of make their own little pack and try to run away with this one, as we nearly got contact out of the corner. The 64 Jason Robarge finds himself up high, and he's under attack as George Anzaldo takes the bottom through 3 and 4.
Bradley Walters coming in right behind him there. Can't get around Robarge, and hey, look who's there. Jesse Vincent trying to get a move on Bradley Walters. Going down below him right there. Is Jesse going to get it here just outside the cones? And yeah, is he going to pull it off? Yes, there goes Jesse Vincent. He has pulled off the pass on Bradley Walters. Jesse making his way up here, taking over the, let's see, what spot is that for him? That's going to put him now in 12th spot.
The leaders were good by 1.1 seconds. Now it is 9/10 of a second. Big Joe Hassert and the Kingsburys, Ray and Matt, respectively 4th and 5th, need to work together and stay single file and try to just be as fast and as smooth as possible if they want to be able to get up here with our leaders. They lose another 10th, though, so it does appear, at least at the moment, that the 95 of Van Hartung and the AAA of Michael Gray are good for 3rd on back and could steal this, depending on if we would go green to the checkered flag, which would be the longest run all night, so don't count on it when things get very interesting. And going side by side at the top spot, looking to the inside, was that 888. He had the positioning, but next thing you know, that safer barrier sticking out, had to check up as Von Hartung make sure he did not give any more room than he needed to. The 95 maintains the top spot. Meanwhile, going backwards up high, Carl Burke, the Valvoline entry, will lose a couple. It looks like Trevor Malone going to get past him with ease.
Yeah, you know, Michael Gray keeps flirting with that fence there, Evan. And I don't know if that's a place I want to be, is flirting with that, because we know how quickly or how easily these cars take damage when you get just a little bit of wall on that car. And man, there's another move right there. He had quite a run there on Von Hartung and takes it right up to the wall and manages to get back in line. And hey, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Dylan Lee, who is listening to the race in his truck. Somewhere in America, Dylan Lee is driving around listening to this race in his truck right now.
BSRC on the road is Von Hartung. Well, he's taking off, and he wants to get open road. That's what he's got right now. And Michael Gray, whoa, what an aggressive move as the 888 flirt with the inside and now the outside wall. You saw that aggressive right-hand swing coming down the back straightaway off of the dog leg to be able to get back to that outside positioning, try to get some sort of a crossover going for the next corner. The race center entry not going to be able to do so. And now we're hearing leaders start to talk pit stops. Well, it's the first car one lap down. Blumenthal, at least, has announced that he's going to be coming down pit road, and expect to see some of these leaders maybe start to come down to pit road just a little bit shy at the moment of making it the way on fuel. About 10 more laps, and then they'll be good on a final splash.
Yeah, we've got Michael Gray and Vincent Blumenthal will come in as well, and you know those guys were on a different strategy, so that gamble that they took, Hartung is in now and bringing the Senna machine down pit lane, and those guys were on a little bit different strategy. But guess who's back at the front? Big Joe Hassert, and who does he have in tow? Ray and Matt Kingsbury trying to hunt him down and make a move on him. And hey, good on Trevor Malone. He's got that car up there tonight after starting in 25th spot. Trevor Malone sitting in 4th right now. And George Anzaldo having a great run tonight in 5th. I hope I didn't curse him, but he is having a great run tonight. Good on you, George. Keep it going, buddy.
Yeah, there's a lot of company around there that have made up quite significant time. Justin Laxton right behind him in the Overdrive Graphics entry, which, by the way, one of the sponsors that makes this league possible. So I want to give a shout out to both Justin and Overdrive Graphics for making this possible, as well as John Downing and the Simposters gang for being able to make this series possible. But Justin started in 23rd. He's up to 5th position. A little bit further back, Jason Robarge, who is 8th position, going to become 9th because Bradley Walters into 56 just made a move on him down to back straight. But that car started 21st. He's now up to 9th. So again, that's at least a 12 position game right there. The question is now, these guys that came down pit road, they came down just about more than 40, about 42 laps to go. You need 38. I don't think they can stretch it at least an extra 4 laps. You think they might be able to make something work? I don't know.
Well, if they get a caution, yeah, because these other guys are going to have to come in. They'll be able to save a little bit of fuel if they get a caution. But, man, with the way these guys are spread out and thin the field out just a bit, as we do have several cars that have left now. We've got half a dozen cars that are out of this thing now. So, I mean, we're dealing with a smaller field now. It could work out for him, Evan. I don't know. We're going to see what happens, but it could work out.
The trouble they're going to find is, although the pit stop delta is like 7 seconds to get 4 tires and fuel, that's blazing fast compared to a stock car, but these are 20-second lap times. So both Eric Von Hartung and Michael Gray are 1 lap down. If they get a yellow, all the leaders are going to have to pit. They're going to have to take a wave round, though. They don't have any advantage on because they'll get the wave round. They'll be at the back of the pack in a single file line that far behind. Plus, they'd be on older tires than our leaders, so they would need everything to cycle through, then a yellow, if they still want a shot at this. But out working lap number 91 of 125 laps, just about 35 or 34 away from the checkered flag. Our leaders are good now to come down pit road whenever they wish. And again, there's not a lot of an advantage of short pitting because there is very minimal tire fall off at this recently repaved Phoenix International Raceway. So there's not much advantage of coming down earlier, coming out later. A lot of a gamble in that. It's really just driver preference. A lot of them just want to stay out, hoping that they don't come down and then get caught on a yellow and may just try to stretch this field run as far as they can for that exact same reason. We go side by side for 3rd. Trevor Malone trying to get it on the 0-2 out of Kingsbury, and somehow Matt defends him, hangs on that outside lane to maintain P3.
And, Evan, pretty unfortunate here for Austin Espity, who was up at the front of this race here earlier. He came into the pit and left. Maybe something came up and he had to go, but Austin Espity all of a sudden is out of this race after, again, being up front in the early stages of this race tonight.
He had a solid run. He came down pit road, and it looked like he had a little bit of connection issues as well. And then he elected to essentially take a tow, even though he was already on pit road to his stall, which was on the part of pit road towards the end of it, which is actually essentially a left-hand degree because it's on the inside of corners 1 and 2, and never came back. Big Joe Hassert leads. It is still the Kingsburys that cycle out the top 3, but it's the top 4 cars, that is it, that are in contention unless either they all wreck out or we have a yellow, because Jesse Vincent, he's been able to get back up again, and we saw him fall to 16th. Johnny put the moves on everybody there, get back to the lead spot in that group of cars just in front of Justin Laxton, but the problem is 2.4 seconds back as we close in on the lap 100 marker in this race. Not a lot of time. The 1 car is going to need a little bit of a help with the yellow flag if he wants to get a shot at a top 3 or a checkered flag.
And you know what? I'm going to move back to the field here real quick, and let's talk about our hard-look woman, Krista Nelson. And you'll have to go way back in your music catalog to get that reference. But anyway, Krista has gotten herself up to 12th place after getting in 2 incidents in the very early stages of this race. She has managed to now get into 12th place and having quite a run here. She is almost 9.5 seconds off the lead, but she's still in this race, and who knows, with a little help from a caution flag, she could be right up there with the guys up front trying to get herself a win tonight.
There are a fair amount of cars, again, we talked about them, guys like Mark Nobert, a couple of people that have been able to put up strong runs. George Anzaldo's around, caution flag is out, as that machine has trouble coming out of corners 1 and 2. Had a little bit of assistance. He went to the inside, wanted to make a move on the 53 of Justin Laxton. You're taking a look at the replay right now. They went side by side. He pushed up, had to check up, and behind him, no time to react. Jason Robarge got into him. It spun him on out. Nobody else involved, as George Anzaldo did come back up and right in the middle of the racing surface. Everybody split him, and now we have a caution. Just at about 25 laps to go. Our leaders are now going to come down for the final time tonight on pit road. And it is going to give those cars, I would anticipate, if everybody all the way through 15th position, Rudy Avalon, does have to come down pit road, that the 16th and 17th place cars of Von Hartog and Gray would get a wave round, but they will be at the back, and that would come at the one to go, and really not a lot going to be gained in the gamble, although it got them up front for a time being. The cars did not fall in their direction, and they may not be able to make that come all the way through. Big Joe Hassert, though, he leads all of our leaders down the pit lane.
And Evan, hey, here's the good thing, all right? Nobody really got any serious damage to that. In fact, George's car looks great, okay? So what we've done here is we've slowed everything down, and we're going to have a about a 20-lap shootout here, okay? So, not bad. I do know Dan Guerin is sitting in the pits right now. Not Dan Guerin, I'm sorry. Corey Connor is sitting in the pits right now. You want to try and talk to him real quick, Evan? See if we can get him in here and just talk to him about the race real quick?
Let's see if you can pull him up on the radio. Do need to make a quick note that Big Joe Hassert has lost the lead on pit road. It is a lot of fuel only, and it is going to be Ray Kingsbury, the first car off of the pit lane. But, Sean, I do believe you have Corey queued up on the radio.
I certainly do. Corey, are you there? Can you hear us, Corey? Well, it looks like Corey's not available in chat right now. There he is. Oh, he came in there. There he goes. Corey, we got you?
Yeah.
Man, tough break for you tonight. What happened out there?
Trying to make a pass on Jack. I don't know if he knew I was there or what was going on there, but he just came down across my nose and the dog leg and just ended badly for both of us.
You know, Corey, I'll be honest with you. I looked at it several times. I really don't think he knew you were there. I don't know if his spotter told him he was clear or not, but it was so close, man. It was like thread and needle right there, and it just looked like a really, really close racing incident. Tough break on you. You had a great run going. I know you were really fast this week. You want to thank anybody for this week's run real quick?
I mean, my sponsors, Big Cat Rescue, Wisconsin Big Cat Rescue. They're great. They're a great group of people helping the big cats out there that are either endangered or just being treated badly and all that. Shout out to all the admins that are running this league. They're doing a damn fine job with what we're throwing up at them. Shout out to Jesse and Ian. They've been helping me a lot with my racing line and all that on the road courses and all that. So.
All right, Corey, we've got about one to go. I'm going to let you get back to the pits, all right? We appreciate you coming in and chatting with us real quick, and we'll see you next week, all right?
Yep.
We'll see you on the practice track, and we'll see you next week in the race, all right?
Yeah, thanks. Take care, yes.
And
right,
is the pass for this lead and the pass for the win, Sean, going to be under yellow? Because now Ray Kingsbury made a pass and a caution flag. Pit stops. He leads this race. What we have shown with the exclusion of the first 5 laps is that it is hard to make a pass on our leader. You got a whole lot of traffic to step at a line, and you are met with a wall of air, and that's the trouble that Joe Hassert, the trouble that Matt Kingsbury are going to have. They're the top 3, 17 guys about to do battle, getting set to try to get this one going. Pace car ducks down and away, restart. Coming up on tap, this one with just about 22 laps to go. Green flag in the air and lap 104 now when the works in Kingsbury set sail with about 2 car lengths to the good. Great restart for Big Joe Hassert, one of the better ones that we have seen from a car that has restarted in second all race long. Matt Kingsbury a little bit further back. A big gap separate 3rd and 4th, but the top 2 are all over each other in 3 and 4. Don't expect Big Joe Hassert to wait long. There he goes, crossover at a 4. He timed it perfectly. He'll have the inside positioning. Ray led it at the stripe, but give the lead back to Big Joe Hassert. Great move.
Yeah, it really was. And let's look at what's going on just behind him there. Battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th place, man. Trevor Malone, Jesse Vincent in the mix there. Justin Laxton getting back into this thing here after having a little bit of trouble on that last caution. He's following Jesse. He knows that's the fast line, is following Jesse Vincent. And right there behind him, Bradley Walters now trying to get in the mix and become a factor in this thing, Evan.
We now find ourselves with the Kingsburys stacked up once again. The 1 car going to get stuck up on the high side and down to the bottom goes Justin Laxton. Behind him, Bradley Walters, a car who has had cars land on top of him earlier in this race. Still out in action. Doesn't look like he has enough speed, though, to challenge on Jesse. And actually on his high side, Jason Robarge, a car that was just involved in an incident again. still out there on track with relatively minor damage, all things considered. He is still able to fight for this. Look at the battle for the lead now. To the top spot goes Ray Kingsbury. He brings Matt with him. The Kingsburys to P1 and P2. They're going to bring Trevor Malone with him, and everybody stack it up from there. Justin Laxton, Jesse Vincent, all the way through Bradley Walters. Big Joe Hassert may not even get a shot to get back in line because he is trapped up high and there is no sign of relief in the near future.
Yeah, Big Joe kind of got shuffled out of the mix there and saw himself just drop like a rock back to third place. But man, or back to fourth place. What a race going on up here as they try and make it almost too wide. Oh man. Bradley Walters there just fighting tooth and nail. Jason Robarge back there trying to get up to the front here. Bradley Walters still making it really close. Justin Laxton moving his way up through the field here. Really looking for a podium finish tonight, Evan.
And that was Laxton who forced it to the inside on Big Joe Hassert. Couldn't make it stick. Jesse Vincent will pass him, and that allows Joe to be able to get back to P4. Now we're side by side for second, but it is Ray Kingsbury who has gone back to the top spot. Matt challenged him for a moment, slides off about 5 car lengths. Trevor Malone just behind him. The 69 with aggressive movement up high. You see he tries to get that big sweeping corner and that big dive bomb down into 3 and 4 to get the speed that he does. But now you're seeing the defensive line come into play. We saw a little bit of a tease at it earlier in this race, but look at Ray Kingsbury and look at Matt Kingsbury. Both of them are not running up against the outside retaining wall, which is the fastest way around this racetrack, taking that wide sweeping corner shot, but they are protecting that inside lane, which has been the sure place to go to make a pass tonight. You see how if this car, it looks like Trevor Malone, the 69, if he ever peeks that nose, you'll see Matt and Ray essentially ride that inside wall. Caution now, trouble behind them. Oh, big trouble. Joshua Borje Bonkowski up and over the 193 car, who is a lap down. Replay is going up right now after he had a world of trouble. It started in front of him, though. Carl Burke is sideways on the apron. Looks like he was coming down because he may have had to pit, but some reason he was down on the apron and was way up to speed too fast, spun out on track, and he clips Joshua Borje Bonkowski. Bonkowski gets into him, gets sent sideways. Huge impact with the back end of the car. Gets hit by another car passing through. He ends up on top of the pit road wall. He ends up into the outside of retaining wall. Caution flies once again, and this will put us on tap for a restart with Matt Kingsbury in the top spot. Sean now with less than 10 laps to go as Ray sits atop the spot after big trouble for one of our lap cars. And Carl Burke, again, kicking it all off. Not sure what happened, but the 027 was down off of the racetrack, and he just lost that thing without any banking to help that car. Just spun right around.
Yeah, he just lost it there, and not much else to say about it. And that Valvoline machine just couldn't hold it down there on the apron, and it spun him around, got him up into the track, and that's really unfortunate here. We were looking at a nice sprint to the finish, and guess what? We're still going to have one. So, not a bad deal. Hey, I want to bring this up real quick because I hadn't got a chance to talk about it tonight. We have decals that have been made by Overdrive Graphics, a really, really cool LionHeart Series decal that you can get with a small donation to the league right now. They'll send you a free decal. $10 donation to the league will get you one decal. $15 will get you 2 decals. The cool thing about it is those decals, you can enter a contest that the league is having right now. Put that decal in a strategic place, in your favorite place. Take a picture of it, send it in the league. Whoever has their decal placed in the best place, as decided on by the admins, will win 5 iRacing dollars and a free paint job from Overdrive Graphics. So pretty cool deal they've got going on right now. I am the proud recipient of a couple of those stickers, and I gotta tell you, they're pretty hot and they're pretty nice. Really nice 3M vinyl stickers, good quality, not good quality, excellent quality. And if you want to contact the league about it, get them at LionHeart IndyCar Series at gmail.com. Get some information on their webpage at LionHeart Racing, LionHeartIndySeries.com. And get involved with that and help the league raise a little bit of money to help fund this thing.
I don't know if mine's at a creative spot, but mine's on my desk next to me, and I was going to say the point, and you said it. They're not, cheap prints. They're on good 3M vinyl, and they are really nice stickers. So again, you can check them out. You gave them the email as well, Facebook, or their online website, LionHeartRacingSeries.com. That's also the place you can find point standings, championship stuff, all that, schedule, contact their partners, the rules, everything that you could want to know about the Lionheart IndyCar Series is at LionHeartRacingSeries.com for more information on that. Now it is Ray Kingsbury. We're still looking to see who's going to walk away with checkered flag number 7 on the season and who walks away winner in the PIR 125 from the Phoenix International Raceway in Avondale, Arizona. Restart coming up inside 10 to go. Again, glad to have you with us on the Global Sim Racing channel alongside with myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and director this evening, I'm Jed Yaman. This could be the final restart. If a caution flies with 4 to go, no green, white checkers, this race is done. Possibility for another restart, but this is about to get good. Ray and Matt, the battle of the Kingsburys, make up the top 2 spots. 17 cars still mathematically in this race as they sit on the lead lap all the way back to the AAA to Michael Gray, who does occupy that 17th position. Inside of the top 5 as well, Trevor Malone, Big Joe Hassard, and Jesse Vincent. Possibly the final time. Ray's going to ride the exterior wall through the whole way in 3 and 4. Pace car gets set to dive down. Possible final restart from PIR. Green flag in the air. No hesitation on the 52. Back at it we go. Crossing the stripe to take lap 118 to 125. And it is Ray, but Matt is all over him. Sean not giving an inch.
Yeah, not entirely surprised by how they started that. And the
Caution.
yellow flag is back out. Yep.
Trouble up in the outside wall in corner 1. Rudy Avalon, the number 32, a Havilon entry. Replay going to go up now as that machine found himself the exterior wall very quickly. You watch him come down the front straightaway. He had making a move, or rather there was a move being made on him, and he just got sideways down on the apron. We talked about how they're allowed to kind of cheat that line in corners 3 and 4. Very different than it is in 1 and 2. You got those left side tires just down there, spun out. Very lucky was Michael Gray, Sean, to not get clipped in that left rear corner panel as well. Pierre Deigel, all of this happening just in front of him. He somehow is just able to sneak by through the smoke and not get any damage in that, and that will set us up for a restart that is going to be just about 3 laps to go, somewhere in that ballpark, and that is it then. The last time that pace car ducks off, that'll be the final restart. If we get a caution, we end under caution flying conditions. Ray Kingsbury, he'll take it either way he can. The 52 car still sits on point.
Yeah, and Rudy Avalon's got a little bit of wing damage up there, but I honestly think he just hit that transition wrong, and that got that car out of shape, Evan. But Rudy is right there at the tail end of the lead lap, and now, like I said, he's got some wing damage up there, and I don't see him coming into the pit, so I think he's going to just try and ride it out here for these last few laps. But tough break for Rudy. Had a chance to maybe get up into the top 15 here, but yeah, it's a tough break for these guys. It would have been nice to see him go green all the way, but hey, we're going to get a nice sprint to the finish here, Evan.
This will be a shootout. Look at that car that sits just outside of the top 5. Now, it would take nothing short from a miracle if he wants to win it from 5th, the way we have seen how competitive the top 3 have been, really the place to be on these restarts. But Jesse Vincent, again, we've been off for a couple of weeks. Last race was 2 weeks ago when they were at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Quebec, Canada. It was Jesse Vincent who took home that in dominating fashion, averaging lap times half a second better than everybody else throughout that competition, taking the checkered flag. He also enters tonight as the championship leader by 63 points over Rick Music, who is not here. That will grow as Matt Kingsbury is 3rd in the championship standings, would get 2nd exiting tonight. But Jesse has a checkered flag already from, 1 week ago. He's got 3 total on the year. He is the only driver, by the way, to have multi-time wins. Other drivers with checkered flags, Rick Music, Matt Kingsbury, as well as Big Joe Hassard inside of the top 10. Ray has not gone to victory lane yet, Sean, and it looks like the 52 may just be getting that done at PIR, but again, he has to hold off Matt, which is easier said than done.
Going back to Rick Music and him not being here this week, this could wind up being a pretty costly week for him not to show up with both the Kingsbury boys up there and Trevor Malone in the mix, Joe Hassard. I mean, they're all right behind Rick, and I think he's gonna take a big tumble in the points tonight, possibly get all the way back to seventh in points, and there he was right there in 2nd.
Field crosses the start-finish line. The lights are extinguished atop the Ford Mustang that leads this field, so this is going to be the final restart on this race. Matt Kingsbury is second. He wants to challenge Ray, who is going to be the control car on this. We will cross over to take lap number 123 of 125. It is a 3-lap shootout to the end. 2 laps under green. Once you get the white flag, it's on from there, boys. You can have 17 cars wrecked. Doesn't matter. No cautions on the last lap. You're racing to the checkered flag regardless, or we can have trouble, back-to-back restarts like we've seen, and if we don't make the white flag and a caution flag flies, no overtime in IndyCar Series, and this race will end at the scheduled distance under green or under yellow. Final time tonight, the pace car going to get down to the safety of pit road. Ray once again rides up against the outside safer barrier. He is in control. Matt, Joe, Trevor, Jesse all over him. Green flag flies, and final restart from Phoenix. Who takes home the checkered flag? We got 3 to go.
We are mean and green. Here we go, Evan. I'm going to let you take this thing over, man. Call this finish, buddy.
We got 3 to go, and everybody, again, trying to fan out. We got some Dyson going on just outside of the top 5. The top 3 all over each other. Good news for the 52, bad news for the 21. Here comes Big Joe Hassert. They battle side by side. Ray Kingsbury going to get a little bit of an advantage. Now 2 laps to go. Big Joe Hassert in the second. If they fight for second, nobody going to be able to get a shot at Ray Kingsbury. Ray's going to rug that bottom line all the way to the inside. Matt Kingsbury forces his way through on Big Joe Hassert. Hassert will now slide back to third. White flag in the air this time by. We're racing it out to the checkered flag. Half a car length. Separate the top 2. Side by side for third. A huge checkup for the 021. Not going to be enough. Nearly 3 wide for second on back. But it's going to be too little too late. And Ray Kingsbury, clean traffic. Down to the bottom goes Matt. Nearly to the inside. Wall slides high. Can't do it. Checkered flag. The PIR 125 to Ray Kingsbury. Side by side at the stripe for second. Big Joe Hassert gets that spot by 4 1/1000ths of a second. But they were too busy fighting for second, Sean, that Ray was able to sneak away with that one. Matt gave it everything he had. He nearly took out the inside wall on that final lap. But Ray Kingsbury picks up his first checkered flag on the Season 2 campaign.
Man, that was an awesome finish. Wow. Big Joe, I honestly, after that last caution flag, my money was on him to win it. I just didn't think there was any way he would let anybody else win this race. But, man, he managed, and great win there for Ray Kingsbury tonight. Great overall effort by the Kingsbury brothers, period. That top 5 is all the heavy hitters in this league, and what a race tonight. And good on Justin Laxton. Again, starting back at 23rd. Trevor Malone started in 25th, finishes thing in 4th. Jesse Vincent started in 6th. He kind of I think he sandbagged most of the night, to be honest with you, Evan, but he finishes 5th place. Just a great overall race tonight. That was a lot of fun, Evan.
Ray Kingsbury crashes the car after the checkered flag, backs it into the inside wall after trying to do the reverse celebration, both literally and figuratively, because he was going backwards the wrong way around the racetrack. Does not work. He does take home the checkered flag, though, and again, what about that race for second, man? It was Matt Kingsbury who would have had the shot at taking home the win. He was behind Ray, but as soon as he did that, Joe went to his inside. Then we thought, okay, Joe Hassert's going to challenge for it, but then Matt went back to the inside, and it was that fighting for second, I think, that really saved Ray. Not that they would have passed him, but I think they would have got a lot better shot if they weren't consistently side by side for second. And you're not going to be sitting third and say, I'm just going to let him fight with the leader. You're obviously going to go for that spot, and it worked in Ray's favor in that case.
Yeah, it certainly did. And, again, a lot of good work by those guys. The practice that these guys put in for this event tonight obviously showed. Everybody that was fast in practice found their way to the top of the leaderboard at some point tonight. I want to give a shout out to Krista Nelson. She finished 10th place. I know we talked about her several times tonight. She started off this race really rough, involved in the first 2 cautions. She manages to get a top 10 finish. So great finish for her tonight. I believe that's her best finish of the season this season. The best finish of the season. So we're going to take this thing to break real quick. Evan, we'll come back and we'll give everybody the rundown.
There were a couple cars that were able to come home top 10 after having trouble earlier on. Full field rundown. We'll talk to the top 3. The GSRC post-race show from Phoenix. Come up. Don't go anywhere. Back live at the Phoenix International Raceway, the PIR 125 and round 7 of 18 on a Season 2 campaign with the LionHeart IndyCar Series has come to a close. Back on GSRC, the post-race show, presented by the people that make all of this possible, Overdrive Graphics and Sim Posters. And Sean, we saw what was an exciting finish where Ray Kingsbury would take home the checkered flag. Big Joe Hassert second, third to Matt, and then Trevor Malone fourth. Fifth position is Jesse Vincent. Rounding out the top 10, you got Justin Laxton as well, a great finish. Seventh position, Jason Robarge. A lot of these drivers at the tail end of the top 10 were involved in incidents, fought through it. Eighth position, Bradley Walters again. Robert Blowen coming home in ninth, and rounding out the top 10, Kristen Nelson, as you mentioned, in that 25 car.
Yeah, and finishing in 11th tonight, number 92, Chris Lanini. In 12th, Mark Norbert in the 111. Eric Von Hartung, who got up there and led some laps tonight. He'll get us a bonus point out of that. 13th place. George Ansaldo, tough break. I feel like I cursed the poor guy. He was up there battling in the top 5 and finds himself finishing in 14th tonight. Peter Ramberg had a decent night, started 17th, finishes 15th, so not much lost, not much gained, but good night for him. Rudy Avalon in 16th, Michael Gray in 17th. Michael was up there battling for positions there and just didn't work out there for him in the end. Vincent Blumenthal, started the race from pit lane and, didn't turn out too bad. He finishes 18th. Pierre Deigel in 19th. Carl Burke rounding out the top 20.
21st position, John Downing in the 82 car. Joshua Borje Bunkowski had major issues. He finishes 14 laps down. Everybody from here on out was behind the wall. He came home the 193 in 22nd. 23rd, the 777 of Austin SPT. Corey Connor, the 2 car, comes home 24th. 25th, right behind him, Jack Bogan, who started from pole position, was unable to make it an entire race and ended up in the inside fencing. He comes home 25th. Just behind him, rounding out our 29 car field, 26th was Drew Motz. Tony Lurcock in 27th. 28th is Dan Duran, and Brent Cummings would round out our 29 car field. Down to the pit lane, I've caught up with the driver of the 021 machine, Matt Kingsbury. He comes home with what's going to be a P3 on tonight, but there were points in the race where it was that 021 car who was looking, especially on that late restart, to have a shot to maybe take home the checkered flag. Matt, what was that final restart like, coming down with just 3 laps to go? You'd get to second and think about trying to make a move on Ray, but then Joe went to your inside, and you guys ended up having a great fight for second, just falling about 4/1000 short from that runner-up position. You get a top 3, though. You started up there in the top 3 in second. Walk us through the night from behind the wheel of the 021.
Yeah, it was a pretty easy night for us. We ran up front the entire night. Just one little hookup when Austin hit his pit limiter at 180 miles per hour and blew my front wing off. So that cost me a spot in the pit lane when I had to change my wing. But I was able to get that back pretty quickly. I really thought I was going to have a run at Ray there. I had fresh tires. Joe and Ray had old tires. That's why I went to the bottom there on the final restart. But yeah, I don't know. Just Joe tried to make a move too early, and I guess he should have known I was going to try to fight that one back, but neither of us were going to get there once he made that move, and I knew that Ray had a good enough car and he tried to help me out, like getting some draft. So I came up a little short, but it was a good race. Joe did a good job, and it's another team 1, 2, 3, so that's a blast, of course.
Coming off of a solid run, I guess, 2 weeks ago at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, coming home with what was going to be a P4 in that event. Entering tonight, third in the championship standings, behind Rick Music and Jesse Vincent. Rick was not there, so although, again, this is all going to be shuffled up once we get down to the latter stages of the season with the drop weeks, you will slide into second into championship standings. Exiting tonight, was looking for that second checkered flag, but you do pick up a 5th top 5, which is the highest out of anybody else that is out there on track. Ray tying you with that because you both entered with 4th. It seems like you guys are always right next to each other on the racetrack. What does that mean, confidence-wise, rolling forward, to have, now that we're really in the middle section of this series, to be up there, to know you're competitive, and now really to go to work on this championship hunt?
Yeah.
Here's, we may have lost Matt's mic there for a moment. Matt, you got us? I know he started to talk, and it appears that he's having a couple of mic issues, so we'll try to get back to Matt if he's able to get that issue fixed, again, as he comes home in third position. Meanwhile, Sean, you've caught up with the driver that was on the positive end of that 4/1000ths of a second gap. You're down with Joe Hassard, who comes home P2 tonight.
Big Joe, have you got me?
Yeah.
Man, how does it feel to sip the champagne there on the podium?
Feels good. Team goes 1-2-3 tonight. We had some good racing. Would have liked to be able to stretch out that lead when we were running 1-2-3-4 there, but those cautions just kind of came out as soon as we were pulling away from the field.
And that would be Team Nailed It, right?
Nope. Last Lap Motorsports.
Oh, Last Lap Motorsports. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. Well, great run for you three tonight, but certainly cool seeing you inch out the win there, literally inch out the win. Who do you want to thank tonight, Joe?
I just want to thank my teammates, Austin, Dan, Matt, and Ray. A lot of people kind of get down on us sometimes, but we got on the same page tonight, and it was a fun race.
Man, I still can't believe I just got the team name wrong. I'm kind of shaking my head here. With as much time as I've spent around you guys and practiced with you, I can't believe I just messed that up. But hey, listen, tell me real quick, what car in this iRacing series are you not fast in? Because I know you run a lot of different cars in this on iRacing, and I've seen you fast in every one of them you run.
I'm not fast in the NASCAR iRacing series. I'm a back marker in that car, but that would just probably take some more practice.
Well, say it isn't so. But hey, listen, after that last restart there, my money was on you, man. And you almost pulled the thing off there. But great race tonight. Really enjoyed seeing you. Looking forward to see what you have for everybody at Atlanta next week. And again, thanks for putting on a great show for us tonight, Joe.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, now I'm going to throw it back to Evan here, and I believe we're going to pull in our race winner if he is still in here. I don't know. I think we lost him, so I think it looks like we might talk to Jesse Vincent next.
Yeah, the celebration has come and gone already in victory lane, and we weren't able to catch up as Ray Kingsbury was tired of in that car, got out celebrated. So we've caught up with our fifth place finisher tonight, driver of the number one car, championship points leader, and was looking to go back-to-back trips to victory lane. We're down with Jesse Vincent. Jesse, we weren't able to bring the cameras out to Montreal 2 weeks ago. You took home the checkered flag in that one to take home win number 3 on the season. You grow your points lead tonight via the fact that Rick Music was not here, but another solid night for you and the guys. Qualified 16th. Were you expecting a little bit better than that, considering you were a top 5 car in practice, top 5 at the end, and do you think that maybe hurt your chances of going for the win tonight?
I expected better qualifying, but I botched the lap. But to show you how competitive all this is, I botched the lap by about, I'd say about 400ths off of my best time, which in the practice races was putting me about 4th. I missed it by 400ths, and I'm back to 16th. So that should definitely tell you how competitive this field has been.
And it was right there neck and neck, both in practice, both in qualifying, and on track as well. You found yourself not too far off of walking away with a P4. Trevor got you down there on the inside lane and what was almost a 3-wide fight there. But walk us through the race as a whole. You started back in 16th position. We saw green flag stretches, but down there at the end, a couple of quick cautions really stacked things up. And it seems like it was the top 3 of the top 4 pulling away. You were always stuck as the lead car, but in that second train of the pack.
Yeah, I think I was overcompensating for the checkups that we've had all season. People keep checking up, and I keep getting black flags or front end damage on it. So I kept I lost my train of thought. Hang on. Blame Sean.
You did drive 125 miles, so we'll give you a break on it in that end.
Yeah, I'm pretty tired too. I think I was overcompensating for the fact that we've had so many checkups that I didn't want to get run over. The second to last restart, I'm glad a caution came out right away because I actually dropped back quite a bit. So on the last restart, I basically just went for it because I figured out by the guys in front of me, there were so few of us, there was very little chance of doing that.
It's a solid race finish when it comes down to it. Another top 5. You walk away with your 4th on the season. That's second most amongst everybody in the series. We're back at it, though, in 1 week's time at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, March 11th. 81 laps in that event. What's your thought process going into that one, and what do you expect out of the number 1 in the team as well?
You said it was Atlanta, right?
Correct.
Unless
they're lying to me. But that's what I got on my end.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Atlanta. Atlanta is... I like Atlanta a good bit. In stock cars, it's very loose, very little grip. And in open wheel car, I've never really done a race there. Last year we did a race at... tried to do one in Texas, and it was moved to Charlotte for several reasons. But I felt like Atlanta would have been a better choice because it's got less grip. Tires will wear out quickly. It'd be a lot more interesting. So I'm happy we're going to end up going to Atlanta as opposed to a couple of the other mile and a halves like that. Like I said, I've never done an open wheel race there. I'd imagine it'd be similar to Texas, similar to maybe even Michigan. Maybe. I think I'll do fairly well. The way the tires fall off there kind of suits my style of driving.
Well, you exit the Phoenix International Raceway 65 points to the good over Ray Kingsbury and second in the championship standings via the updated points and everybody else from there on back. Before we let you go, Jesse, sponsors, shout-outs, all that good stuff. Who makes it happen?
Shout out to Corey. Him and I are working pretty good for most of the race until he had that little mix-up there midway through the race. I also want to give a shout-out to Ray and Joe for taking points away from Matt. I am quite pleased about that, so thank them for that. And, thank you guys for broadcasting all these. Thanks to the league administrators for putting all this on.
Every little thing counts when it comes up to a tally at the end of the season. Jesse, thanks for talking with us. Congrats on a top 5, and we'll be looking for that one car to be competitive as always in 1 week's time. We'll see you there.
All right, thanks. You guys have a good night.
That is your 5th place finisher and championship points leader. Coming home in P5, John Jesse Vincent with another solid finish. But we said that this race was going to be much like a bull ring, like we saw at Iowa. 17 cars finishing on the lead lap. That one had single digits. We saw a lot of great racing. We saw a hell of a finish for second, but a great drive by Ray Kingsbury to hang on to the lead in a late race shootout. Great race at Phoenix overall, I'd say.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was a very, very fast-paced event. And, when we're talking about a 1 mile track, those caution flags don't take very long. That was a lot of fun tonight, Evan. Probably as much fun as we've had all season, I think. Very, very close, tight racing all night. And, again, the work that these guys put in on the off days, the dedication they show to this league is really incredible. I think it's one of the things that makes the LionHeart IndyCar Series really stand apart from a lot of other leagues out there. These guys really work at it, and it shows when these races go off. There's a lot of skill being shown out there and a lot of close, tight racing. Again, we saw a fun one tonight, and not real surprised with how the race ended up there. The guys, the cream always rises to the top, as they say. And it certainly did tonight. And, I think everybody was entertained by this one, Evan.
I'm sure it was exciting for a lot of the drivers. Maybe not in the best way because they were probably shaking the entire race, but it was exciting, at least from the tower, to see a lot of the racing going on. And there's so many people that make this possible. Have to thank everybody that makes these broadcasts able to go on the streaming equipment, the iRacing.com Motorsports Simulator, XSplit, free and easy live streaming and recording software, the Audio Technica Corporation, Aver Media USA, as well as the LionHeart administration team, Chief Steward John Downing, Public Relations George Anzaldo, and the league administrators Joe Hassert, Drew Motz, and Tony Lurcock. Additional thanks to the camera sets provided as always by the camera wizard Dougie Beard. Music by Eric Ekholm, EirkEkholm, EricEkholm.com. Let them know where you heard this music. Stay up to date with the Global Sim Racing channel online at globalsimracingchannel.com, Twitter at GSR Channel, and Facebook at facebook.com/Global Sim Racing Channel. For more information on the LionHeart IndyCar Series, go to LionHeartRacingSeries.com. Coming up this week on the Global Sim Racing Channel, Saturday, March the 7th, the MX-5 World Tour Series from the Sonoma Raceway. That one at 10 a.m. Pacific and 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time. Until next time, from the Phoenix International Raceway, on behalf of the broadcast crew, myself, Evan Pasoko, Sean Ambrose, and director Jed Yaman, good night from PRR. We'll see you in 1 week's time next Wednesday night from Hotlanta.